Hey guys, here, 1 second here. Just gotta drink this coffee. 1 second. Mm. Coffee, honey, and hot chocolate mix. There's a sugar high for you. I'm jumping off the walls. So I just finished watching 9 episodes of Outlaw Star. And yeah, I kind of got into it hardcore. So I'm going to talk about that, but I think I'm going to mention something a friend of mine brought up. He said, "Well, do you kind of do this improv way?" And it's like, "Yeah, I do. I do kind of like, I will cut episodes if I do one of three things. If they go way too perverted, like I mean, I kind of get like really kind of like out there, kind of crazy because I am half awake and I want to sleep. So sometimes I just, when you're talking to someone, you really don't mean to kind of like get that kind of like way dark, kind of over the top, and like I went nuts with it, and I'm like, okay, wait, there's no way people are gonna be like, whoa. So I try to stay on the really, really dark, like I mean, truly dark humor. Like I mean, really kind of like stay away from that. The other one is if I start swearing, I start swearing. That's like really start swearing. Like I don't like. You think I sweared in my Chronos Trigger one? I swear way. I make the nostalgia critic and the angry video game nerd. They would be like, "Holy crap! Tone down, tone down the vulgar." Hell, I would make the amazing atheist, and I think there was what was there? I think there was a guy. I don't know if he was on YouTube, but I remember like I'd make George Carlin and Bob Saget like turn pink with embarrassment. That's how much I can swear sometimes. I gotta watch that because it gets crazy. So I try not to get that bad. And the third one is if I mention someone, I try not to. I mention like my friend or my associate. Otherwise, I stay away from the whole mentioning people because it's they didn't give me permission, so I'm not going to. It's a bit different when I mention someone who's famous because technically that's what you get for being famous. You kind of get the ins and out of being a famous person. But otherwise, I don't. I won't. So I gotta watch the swearing because I'm even bad where I'll even start swearing in other languages. So that's the fun of having a lot of friends from a lot of different backgrounds. You pick up their swears. It's funny too because I don't use it right. I'll still do it anyway. Still swear like a sailor. So anyway, we're gonna talk about Outlaw Star. What can I say about a series that I just watched 9 episodes in a row, and I'm like hopped up and just kind of like going nuts on it? First of all, holy crap, it's Mass Effect. Seriously, I gotta say this. I gotta say this. This has blew my mind. I'm like super like I was playing Mass Effect while playing this, and I'm at a certain point in Mass Effect, and holy crap, it's Mass Effect. It is absolutely, totally, there is some similarities to Mass Effect here. Now, Outlaw Star came out way before Mass Effect, but wow, I can't believe there's so many similarities to Mass Effect. That being said, I like okay, the whole Will Wheaton Firefly thing. Yeah, you can tell he inspired it. It's Cowboys in Space. Outlaw Star did it the best. Did it. I haven't seen another one where I've actually felt like this is Cowboys in Space. But holy crap, it's Mass Effect. Wow. I'm kind of shocked by that. Play the first Mass Effect and then watch out. Well, no, watch Outlaw Star, then play Mass Effect. And there's some eerie similarities. Anyway, what can I say about something that was like nine? That I did, like I said, I just watched 9 episodes like in a row. That's how awesome. I love this series. It is so action packed. It is so fun. I think where like some series can kind of be a little bit slow and they can drag out, I actually enjoy this from start to finish. It's one of those few series where you can honestly watch it and just kind of like, oh wow, I think I'm gonna watch the next episode. I think I'm gonna watch the next episode. I think I'm gonna watch the next episode. And I've done that. There are a few series out there that get me doing that. Slayers was another notorious one for me. I've actually watched 24 hours of Slayers at one point. So it's a good series. So where are we gonna start? Well, I guess we'll start at the beginning. Basically, the story kind of starts out with basically three characters. Well, technically four, if you count one character. By the way, spoiler alerts if you haven't seen this series yet. Watch it first, then hear what I have to say because I do spoil stuff, and I do apologize for that. But I do believe in I try to keep it a little bit unspoily, but I'll try. I'll try not to. I apologize if I do, because if this sounds at least decent and I'm not swearing, it's going on YouTube. It doesn't sound like complete rantings of a madman. Oh, geez, I think that boat sailed. uh, oh wow, I'm tired. uh, anyway, it starts with these two guys, one named Gene Starwin, who is basically your space cowboy. Best way to put it. He everything about him is a cow. He's like, a gunslinger. He carries a bunch of weapons with him, and his partner James Hawking. They basically have this thing called Starwin and Hawking Enterprises, and they basically, one day they want to go into space, go on their own space adventure, and they end up meeting a pirate by the name of Helga. And basically, Helga is this, like, she's been around forever. Like, she's like this hardcore. I think she's like called Ice Queen Helga. So she's been around forever. She's kicked ass. She's just one of these really tough female pirates. So anyway, she ends up like basically hiring these guys to kind of like help her she wants to kind of escape this planet. And then they find this other person, which, by the way, I don't like this character, but I sympathize. There's something you got to say. If you really want to look at a good anime or a series in general, if you really don't like a character, but you can still sympathize with that character, that's saying something. Like I was like kind of went on my huge rant about the Death Note in the last video I was trying to do for the Outlaw Star. I was mentioning how I just don't like. Well, I just don't like Light Yagami. I don't like the character. I think he's a complete idiot. And so, and it's kind of weird how, even though I don't like, he's very similar to Lelouch Lampelouche from Code Geass. I don't like Lelouch, but I sympathize with Lelouch. By the way, great anime. Another anime I'd really suggest you watch. And that's kind of the same way with Melfina. As much as she's like, she doesn't know who she is, what she is, and everyone has those feelings of like who we are, what we are, kind of everything we do is kind of based off this, who we are, what we are kind of these like everyone goes through that, and in her case she's a bio android, so she kind of has these questions. And so basically, her existence is in question, so it causes her a lot of problems. She causes her that she becomes untrustworthy, she doesn't trust other people. It's just everything about it's just kind of like a kind of a little bit of a sad character. Now she does have her stupid moments, and I'll get to that a little bit later. But these four individuals go on to their own travel. And I guess I should go into a little bit more about the character Gene Starwin and, and James Hawking. Gene kind of feels like the everyman's person, everyman's cowboy. He drinks, he's a womanizer, but he's kind of like has the heart of gold, even though he has these issues, he has these negative sides. So he's this kind of one of those characters that you get to you get to kind of like you grow to like him. He's actually, I think he's probably the most human character I've seen in a lot of series. Like, it's very, sometimes in anime they're kind of way over the top, and you really don't run into human characters. Now, that's not saying there aren't. There's quite a few. If you really look, you'll find them. But I find you find the more insane, over the top characters, like like the guys from, it just seems to show up a lot, like in a lot of series, and I think that's the one thing I like about Gene Starwin. He screws up. He's an idiot. He does dumb things. Now, what can I say about James? Well, James is basically wow, James is an 11-year-old boy genius. I know we've seen it in a lot of stuff, but I think this is kind of the first time you actually saw it seriously. Like he actually legitimately, he's your first real boy genius. I don't think Dexter's Lab or other series that came out afterwards could really say that one way or another, eh? I don't think they were like that back in the day. So it's just kind of one of those things where you can kind of say, well, he was the first, and actually, he's kind of a, where you got Gene, who's kind of like the crazy, thing. You got James, who's kind of the polar opposite, and now what can I say about Helga? Well, Helga is the experienced Obi-Wan Kenobi type character in more ways than one. Yeah, she ends up dying. So yeah, she's kind of the Obi-Wan Kenobi character. So they end up basically with Helga at the time travel to this location to try to find this ship that Melfina, or Mel, as they start referring to, can like link up to and kind of become this navigation system. So basically, these four individuals end up turning into three after this epic battle, which actually, by the way, probably Helga's. I think I'm saying her name right, Helga. I hope I'm not. I hope I'm not screwing that up. But Helga's death scene is awesome. I think that's one of the best death scenes I've seen in most series. That's actually kind of kick-ass. So anyway, they're traveling around trying to find, well, Melfina's, who Melfina is, but they also want to, or who Mel is, her, and kind of like why she was created, why the ship was created, to try to find this, what's called the galactic ley line. And that's basically, in a nutshell, what they're basically traveling around. On their travels, they end up running into an assassin named, well, first they run into Aisha Clan, which is part of the Kataro race, which they're kind of like werewolves and Klingons on crack. It's kind of yeah, because like literally they're tough, they're powerful, where Klingons are, they're tough, they're warrior race, but the Kataro are completely nuts. like they have like they turn into wolf-like creatures. They're pretty kick-ass. I actually like them. She's one of my favorite. Her and Jean are like my favorite characters. And then you got Slicing Suzuka. Basically, Jean has this friend who's basically constantly, this rich friend that's basically he's constantly borrowing money off of. Sounds like some of my buddies. Well, I don't borrow money off them that much. I just kind of like I just kind of borrow other stuff off them, right? Or I'll pay you back next month. It kind of sounds like my friends. Sorry, guys. Anyway, anyway, he has his buddy, and basically this rich friend is all of a sudden being chased after by this assassin named, I think she's called Slashing or Striking Suzuka, Sazuna or Suzuka, who's this kick-ass samurai. By the way, a samurai that uses a wooden sword that still kills people is kind of cool. You don't see that very often, but she has a wooden sword, and she actually can like rip people apart with a wooden sword. That's pretty cool. And it's just kind of neat. She's kind of like this. Again, it stems to the series. It's one of the greater things about that series is, even though you have these characters, all these type of characters are combining together. Even though you have like this weird alien cat werewolf cat girl, you got this gunslinger, he's using like a magic gun, you got this like woman who can integrate with a ship, you got this boy genius, all these things, it works. where usually you could take one of those characters and make an entire anime after them. you you know, you could literally all these characters. It's a working it perfectly. Like, even though it seems unawkward, even though there's even magic in the series, it just works. Let's talk about magic. There's these group called the K Pirates that are basically after the ship. They call it the Outlaw Star, which is the name of the series. But the ship that basically ship and the ship and Mel, who basically they're trying to use her to navigate the to get to the galactic ley line. So basically, they're trying to prevent her from being captured. At the same time, they're trying to get to the ley line themselves. Eventually, it kind of like the first little bit of it's more along the lines of trying to like get money. So it's a great series. They end up having constant confrontations with constant fights with the K Pirates and this other group called the McDougal Brothers, which, you know what? They aren't that bad for villains. Like, I actually kind of like have a like weird, they're weird villains. Like, I don't know. I kind of have a love-hate relationship with them. I actually like the K pirates more because the idea of like this more these Chinese pirates that use like Tao magic, which is very interesting. It's a very interesting series. Like, the idea of like, there's it's all set in space and they're using magic. Very Star Ocean type of feeling to it, and I kind of like that. I kind of like the idea of this, and then let's talk about the ships. They have their standard cruiser ships, and then they have what the Outlaw Star is, which is a grappler ship. Which, wow, I never. You know what? It's the can of arm on crack. These ships fly around and grapple and grab each other. I know that sounds weird, but they actually grapple and grab each other and pull out guns. Like, that is so cool. I kind of love that. I kind of think that's really unique. I've never seen that in any series, really, like, ever. Have I ever seen that? and, and it's just so cool. I just kind of thought that was one of the more neater things that they actually did. I don't think I've ever seen that in any series, in any real series, because most of the time it's kind of just they don't do that. It's just something you don't. Like, most of the time they just have, like, they kind of just shoot their lasers and their cannons, but these ships actually get up close and personal to each other and actually fight each other. So that's kind of neat. And so basically, it's a really cool series which it has a total anime feel, but it has a total space, like, it is literally the Space Cowboy series. Everything about it just has this feel where it's kind of a cross between, it gets gritty, it gets good, it's action packed, totally action packed, one of the more action packed series. So I'm gonna kind of mention my favorite episodes and kind of like say, well, these are the episodes I absolutely love in the series, and I'm gonna kind of scoot over to the computer and look at the list here. The first episode I kind of want to talk about is the Tureen, the hot spring planet. I love this episode. They have basically the K Pirates have this Joker looking character, and watching him fail whale the entire time. Well, they're trying to get to a hot. Basically, the main cast they want to go to the Galactic Ley Line, but they don't. He wants to have these special. He wants to get caster bullets for his gun because he basically has this magic gun. Yeah, I know they did it. They did it before Final Fantasy. They did it before Final Fantasy Unlimited. Yeah, you guys, you stole that, you bastards. Oh God, Final Fantasy Unlimited. Man, that sucked. I'm gonna get to that one later. But no, yeah. So he basically wants these magic bullets, and so basically they're really hard to make. So there's these wizards on this planet, and so he basically goes around trying to find these wizards, and it's quite funny. It's one of the ones he's really good to watch, and just watching this Joker looking character get his ass handed to him. Time and time again. It's kind of funny. Another one I'd like to talk about is, I believe it is, looking for it right now. I believe the seven emerges is, I believe, the episode where this basically, the K Pirates have these seven of the most powerful guys that they have in their little group, and they're basically he basically has to fight this gunslinger, and this gunslinger is so kick ass. He's just he's so badass. It's just like he thinks he's gonna get it. He's gonna die, and it's a really really good episode. So those are a couple episodes I kind of wanted to talk about. So they're pretty much my favorite out of. There's a lot. Honestly, the entire series, I watched it 9 episodes from start to finish. I watched it all week, and I just kind of like went 9 episode crazy, which is great. And what can I say about? Like I said, it's a series that's so well done, so fun, so unique. And if you get a chance, honestly, Outlaw Star, it's worth having a look at. Holy crap, it's Mass Effect. Okay, I still gotta say it. It's Mass Effect. Play the game, play the first Mass Effect, and then watch all of Outlaw Star. There's some scary similarities. So in closing, I'd like to thank a couple people here for helping me out. I'd like to thank one of my friends who let me let me get my hands on Outlaw Star, and I'd like to always thank my editor in chief and the guy who listens to these and puts them on YouTube for me. To kind of appreciate it. Anyway, I'm signing off. I hope you guys enjoy the insanity of this episode. Maybe I'll talk about Death Note later. All right, have a good one. Bye.